Time for another Soccer Down Here 1v1, and we catch up with what is going on with South Georgia Tormenta, and specifically on the women's side. It is the second signee for the club as they get ready for their season in USLW. Madison Foshee, midfielder, the pride of Alabama Christian in Montgomery, USCB, otherwise known as South Carolina Beaufort, and now Tormenta FC women. Thanks for hanging out with us for a 1v1, Madison.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Glad to be here.
So when the idea was first presented to you about being a part of something that is as ground level as this is, being a part of something from absolute jump, you're the second player, you join Elise Halsey as a part of this, they contact you. What was your initial response?
To be honest with you, Mr. Nelson, I was just, it's still surreal to this day. To be able to come from Alabama and, have the opportunity to come out of the state and do what I love. It's incredible. And being in this area has opened up so many opportunities, and it's something as endearing and just like monumental as the USL Women's League for Tormenta. I really am honored, and it still kind of shocks me today that I'm being able to play and, be a part of the inaugural season.
It's still shocks you? How's that?
Because if I'm being honest, I was talking to my dad about it the other day. I was back at home, just with them, taking all the things in, during Christmas break, during the holidays. It's like, wow, to come from there to be here and have this opportunity to play in the soon to be stadium we have at Tormenta, and just being able to do what a lot of women's soccer players and even youth soccer players kind of aim to do is amazing. I just love the sport so much, and being able to do that is very cool in this light.
What drew you to the sport in the first place back in Alabama?
Well, actually, being the youngest sibling in my family, my older sister, she was kind of what I call the trial. She was thrown into a lot of stuff, and I kind of just followed under her wing most of the time. And when we kind of got into sports and stuff and soccer, it was just something that for me kind of always came naturally. Once I started, my dad was coaches of our rec teams growing up and all of that. It was just fun. It was a place where I didn't have to think about outside life or anything else. It was just something that I could do and enjoy doing with my friends and family. The community is what really brought it towards me. And then sooner it got more I wanted to, take it to the next level. But initially it was just being able to be with my friends and family. And it was fun because I was good at it.
And then you go from Alabama Christian to the South Carolina Beaufort. When your game grew as you continued to get more and more experienced in this, I guess, can you compare your experiences about the growth of the sport, seeing it on the high school level in the state of Alabama, being on the college level in South Carolina, and now working your way toward the pro ranks here in the state of Georgia? What's it been like to see the growth of the sport on all these different levels in the Southeast?
It's been very interesting as far as the different systems of play from the different regions that I've been in. I think that's what molded me into the player I am today, being able to be in the different environments. And I think for me, it took having the mindset of saying, okay, I'm here. What does this place need me here? What do I bring to the table here at this place? And then I kind of go from here and into the next place, and then I gather what I've done thus far for the next thing at hand. And I think for me, it also, once I hit my senior year of high school, I realized a lot of things outside of just the sport, as far as the nutrition, even taking more serious steps in my career path, just all the things outside that kind of mold the mindset of what I believe it takes in any path, whether it is soccer or not. Those things are kind of what ushered me into being able to go, I guess, to more places in different areas of the Southeast for soccer. And it's been pretty cool to see how I've grown from like that year, even though it's only been like 2 years for that. So, but it feels like a lot. But I'm definitely one where I like to keep learning. You're never too old to learn. So
when it comes to your game on the field and in a team setup, what do you think you bring to the table to Tormenta FC?
I've always prioritized doing the best on what you can in any given situation. There's always going to be times on the field or off the field where some things are out of your control, but it's what you can do to directly affect the game. And I think that's the most important thing. For me, I've always kind of had that, okay, what's next? Like, I've never really just stopped and be like, okay, the play's done. No, the play keeps on going. And I think for Tormenta and what their values and morals for their club and what they want to do for this season coming up in the summer, I feel like I can bring to the table just that.
When it comes to interactions with the Van Tassel family, I know that they are, when you mention Tormenta, it is Nitra, it's Miss Nitra and Darren when it comes to Van Tassels as a part of the whole organization. What have your interactions been with them? Because you're now a part of the fabric and the framework of something that is growing. It is growing very, very quickly in a bunch of different directions. But what's it like to interact with them, and what have your experiences been?
Well, if I'm being honest with you, Mr. Nelson, I met them this past weekend for the first time, and they're the most endearing and genuine people I've met in my time being with affiliated this club and just being here in the low country of South Carolina and even Georgia. They have a lot of admirations and goals for this team, and not just for the women's side, but the whole umbrella of USL and the academy. And I really value how they want us to go, like the steps to take to get to where we want to be. Like, I was actually talking to Mr. Darren, and he was saying how this start of the USL women's side is just, obviously it's just the beginning, but he wants it to be a part of something like where we're always going to be around. It's not just like a stepping stone. It's something that we can always take and learn from and have under like our umbrella. Like, it's bigger than just a team. And I really like how they view that for Tormenta. And that was one of the main things that drew me here. So,
well, because one of the things that has always been a part of the fabric and the framework is that family construct. And in that initial meeting with them, it's cool that you can get that just from that instantaneous meeting about how important the idea of family is. And while, yes, it is under the umbrella of a sports franchise and a sports organization, it's all about family with them. And you picked that up immediately.
Yes, sir. Oh, yes. Being able to have that, comfort, especially as an aspiring adult in the real world, having their comfort and just seeing them as the head of the club, it really does help. I'd say not just for me, but for the rest of the team to be able to perform the way we want, just because we know we have people on our side. And I think that's very important, especially with how big Tormenta is getting.
So then how big of a role model do you see yourself being the second player that's announced, knowing what the Tormenta means to that particular section of the Southeast? Do you think of yourself as a role model in this regard?
I would say so. But at the same time, I'm still Madison Foshee. I'm still soccer player. I know there were some girls at the open trial last time I went to, and they were being very nice and very generous as far as like congratulations on the signing. And I was like, we're still on the same field. We're still competing and playing for the same team and the same club. And I think it's important to keep that in regards, just so we keep the talent and the spark for players around the country, even to just want to be able to get to that. I think I do realize I have a lot more eyes on me, and I see that as excitement. Like, I'm just ready to get started and to help youth players see that, hey, as you guys grow up, this is y'all's spot too. Like, it's never going to stop. And I think that was the main thing for me, being able to share that with younger kids and even the fans and stuff that were there too. Like, it's important, I feel like, just to just go out and be yourself and, just to do it to your best ability so other people can see that they can do it too.
What are your own expectations when it comes to being out there and being a representative for Tormenta FC? When it comes to on the field, do you have any kind of set ideas as to how you want your game to get to the next level as a part of all of this growth?
Yes, sir. I really want to be able to grow my mental game as well. I feel like, as I'm 19 years old, I think one of the biggest things for me is to not let my own self get in the way of something. So I want to be able to take and learn from some of the older players that will also be on the roster, as far as like how they do it in some certain times, just because like we all have our past and we all have our goals and we all have our present. And I think for me, being in an environment where there's other players that have similar expectations and for themselves and for the team will help me elevate my game to be able to go farther with wherever it takes me. I feel like just being a little bit more mentally strong at times will help. And me being able to do that can also show younger players too, like just the ladder effect. So
we all had posters on our wall growing up with whatever our favorite sport was. Who were those posters on your wall, and who did you try to sit there and model your game after as you were growing up?
Oh, man. Okay. I have to say, when I was growing up, I was very immersed in the men's World Cup. I loved players like Neymar. I loved players who were underappreciated, like Steven Gerrard, for their position. I like taking a mixture of different players, even Lindsey Horan from the U.S. women's team. A lot of the things that I liked what they did, I just try and practices. And even if I'd fail, I'd go, okay, I'd try it again next time. Like I'd like to see things they did in their game to try and mold into mine, even though sometimes it didn't work out. Sometimes it does, though. But I think that's the beauty of being able to see your role models on the screen, because sometimes they do that too. But I would say Neymar, Lindsey Horan, Steven Gerrard, a lot of them have helped me kind of grow and make me realize that these are some parts that I can bring to the table too.
And I know that one of the things that has come out in the early days since your signing is that you're looking forward to bringing a national title to Statesboro as a part of this. And I know that, knowing your game and knowing how you're wired as a player, I know that you're not going to stop until this happens. I mean, when you're a part of something like this, I know that expectations, they're always high, but the idea of sitting there out of the blocks, I want to bring a national championship to Statesboro, boom, right there. I mean, I think that speaks a lot to your makeup and what your expectations are, not only of yourself, but everyone around you, so that national championship can be there in Statesboro. Am I off here?
Oh, no, you're very on as far as that. I want from the get-go, I think not just me, but even with the first signing of Elise and some of the players that haven't been announced that will be coming in here, I feel like we all have the goals and wants to bring a title back for Tormenta. I think we have the quality, and with Coach Robbins as our coach being able to lead us and guide us in the right direction, I feel like all of us together pretty unstoppable. And I feel like with the right mindset throughout the season and being able to fulfill the things that we need to as players, working together in practices and the games, I think we have a really good chance, Mr. Nelson. I think I'm going to do my best part to do that. So.
Well, we'll hold you to it, and we'll keep an eye on everything
sir.
that's going on down there in Statesboro with Tormenta FC. Newest signing on the board, Madison Foshee, midfielder, Alabama Christian, Montgomery, Alabama, USCB, the Sand Sharks, and now part of the Tormenta Magenta. Thanks for hanging out with us for a 1v1. Congratulations on the signing. We'll be keeping an eye on things in USLW with Tormenta FC. Thanks for hanging out with us for a 1v1.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nelson.